Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we're going to discuss the 2023 action-adventure thriller film Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves, starring Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Justice Smith, Sophia Lewis, Regé-Jean Page is in this, Hugh Grant is in this, Chloe Moretz is in this. A bunch of people are in this. So this is 2 hours, 12 minutes. This was awesome. And it was funny, and it had a good balance between CGI and practical effects, creature design, puppetry, animatronics, makeup. It was everything a fantasy film should be. It had that balance between drama and comedy. It had the balance between action and adventure. It was just very well done. I'm only familiar with Dungeons and Dragons in regards to properties, Stranger Things, in regards to Vox Machina on Prime original show, which is based on a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. So the benefit of Dungeons and Dragons presented as a story is that anything could happen at any point. It's all about rolling the dice and seeing what happens next, right? You're given two things. If you roll a high number, you could defeat the dragon. If you get a low number, you're going to get eaten alive. Stuff. And the benefit of watching a project, whether it be a show or a film of Dungeons and Dragons, is that the campaign presents these characters, but these characters always have history. So when you're watching a D&D project, it's always the middle of a story. And this is just the next chapter of a story of these particular characters. So certain characters have bad blood, certain don't, and they come together to do something else, right? So this particular quest is to get a relic to bring back Chris Pine's character's past wife, the mother of his daughter. But then, like, adventure and betrayal and mishap along the way. So what happens next? But that's the benefit of these types of stories, is that there's always a what happens next. And even if a character dies, this particular relic can bring them back to life. So it's very hard to do a project where it's always the middle of the story, but there's no beginning and there's never going to be an ending, because there's always going to be something else. Even if one character does die, the other characters in the party can still do other stuff, and then you can get other newer characters in the party, and the party can continue on. That's the benefit of a D&D story, is that it can never end. It will never end. So it's cool that we get this particular chunk of information from this particular group revolving around other groups. If that makes any sense. Does that make sense? I feel like it makes sense. Things I really loved in this, aside from the animatronics, the puppetry, is the heart that the characters had, that they Robin Hood-esque kind of characters, but they have real moments. They have to face the past at certain things. And Justice's character, him being a half human, and then elf along the way, has to deal with his family and stuff. And Michelle Rodriguez's character of Holga has to deal with her past and family and stuff. So it's a lot of, not so much trauma bonding, but trying to realize that you have to face the past, acknowledge the past, accept the past, that it happened, and it brought you to the present. And what happens in the present dictates what then happens in the future. What kind of rolling of the dice, decaquadrant dice, does that dictate? So it's neat. It's neat having those type of life lessons along the way of this fantastical fantasy film, triple F if you will, because it's always a what if. What if this happens in this moment? Will it lead me towards this path, or will it lead me towards that path? And that's what's neat about D&D in regards to storytelling, is that anything can happen. And it's a matter of learning from the past, which brings you to the present to see where the future can go. I've tried to play Dungeons and Dragons. My attention span is far too short to sit to do a campaign. I've tried. It doesn't work. But I appreciate the franchise, the game, the storytelling, the lore as a world-building experience, because so many things can start from this. So many things have started from this. So I'm very curious what the next Dungeons and Dragons thing will be. I'm waiting for season 3 in Vox Machina. I'm now waiting for a sequel to this. What are our illustrious characters going to be doing next? This has a very big budget in regards to visual effects and practical effects, so I'm very curious to see what happens next. If there is going to be a next, this would do very well as a TV series as well, so maybe we'll get a sequel in regards to a TV series, not just a movie. Anything can happen. Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves, awesome 2023 film. On to the next review. Mahalo.